So excited today, out here with my buddy Chris and Jason as well, and we are going to fly out here at Old Settlers Park, which is huge, lots of space, seems like a really great place to fly. But the best thing is, Chris told me he got me a surprise, and I think I know what it is.
Yeah, so I've been really intrigued by these DJI goggles, and it costs a lot of money, but I got you a pair. So they're awesome. Yeah, they're really, really great.
Wow, dude.
Yeah, you just have to pair them up, and that's fine.
They're way lighter than I expected.
I know. I got a pair of cheap Chinese knockoffs.
Oh yeah? Where are yours?
Yeah, mine are right here. These are mine.
Oh yeah, I can tell they're knockoffs because the logo's so small.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
so
and
I don't know.
It's not replaceable either. So.
Yeah, I don't know if these are going to work as well as yours, but today on Ready Set Drone, we're going to find out.
So the first thing to note is that they are designed to work with the Mavic Pro, the Phantom 4 series, the Inspire series, and the Spark, which has just been released and is just starting to come out. So I do know for a fact that the Mavic Pro, they work with over OcuSync wirelessly. You pair them using the button that's inside the little compartment where your SD card is, your micro SD card, and the switch that switches you from Wi-Fi to transmitter. There's a tiny little button in the upper left there. When you set the goggles into pairing mode, you push that button and it sends out a pairing transmission and it pairs your Mavic with the goggles. Now, if you want to fly with the Inspire or the Phantom series, you use a little HDMI cable adapter that comes with the goggles. It comes out of your remote control and it plugs into the goggles and gives you a great experience. It's just not wireless. Hey, so quick interlude into the video about the DJI goggles. I know I'm going to get questions about, does it work with the Phantom? How well does it work with the Phantom, Phantom 4, Phantom 4 Pro? I just tried it. I've already shot all the other video with the Mavic, so this is kind of an addendum that I'm going to put onto it before I publish the video. And I just want you to know it works beautifully. You plug into this little port on the front using the provided HDMI cable, and you plug into the HDMI out on the remote control, and it looks absolutely gorgeous. No dropouts, no flickers, nothing like that. The only downside is you've got to have a cable versus having it wirelessly connected like you do with the Mavic. So back to the original video, just wanted to interject that and let you know that it does work well and that I will be doing a full video about flying with the goggles and the Phantom 4 Pro, so stay tuned. So I do know that they will stream wirelessly to the Mavic Pro, and as they're streaming, they will either do 1080 at 30 frames per second, which is considered HD mode, or 720 at 30 frames per second if there's a great distance or there's interference. It basically drops it down to 720 from 1080 automatically so that you don't lose signal. There is what's called smooth mode that you can set up in the menu. Smooth mode allows you to do 720 at 60 frames per second. 60 frames per second is smoother. It's going to give you more frames per second, so it's going to look a little less film-like and a little more smooth. So something to consider. The goggles weigh 495 grams. Now that's just this part right here. And let me show you real quick. They actually come in two pieces. That is the goggle part right there. The goggles weigh 495 grams and the headband weighs 500 grams. So they're pretty similar in weight. So all combined, they're 995, almost 1,000 grams. So it's a fair amount of weight sitting on your head. But they've got a lot of padding in here, very ergonomically designed. Padding up here on where your top of your head is, and they're actually designed to sit down a little bit on the back of your head, kind of at an angle. This thing kind of sits on the top of your forehead, and it allows them to rest comfortably and not shake or move, and it also gives you the best experience when it comes to blocking out light from around.
So on the goggles, everybody tries to put them on like around your head like a baseball cap, but that's not right. You actually have to push them down. There's this butt of the back of your head. Make sure they go down as far as that you can, and then you actually tighten them up.
So when they're connected together like this, all you do is you put this little piece in and you slot it in till it clicks like that. In that situation, they are 13.3 inches deep this direction, 7.6 or 7.5 inches wide And so you can kind of tell they're deeper than they are wide. They're just a little bit wider than your face is going to be. And they give you an 85-degree field of view within the goggles themselves. There are actually 2 screens in these goggles. The 2 screens are both 1920 by 1080 screens. So 1920 wide by 1080 tall. That means that you're always going to be 1080 tall all the way across, but 1920 times 2 is going to give you a full resolution of 3840 across the entire field of vision at that 80 degrees. So the transmission distance has to do with which drone you're flying. If you're flying a Mavic, it's going to be whatever the Mavic is. I believe that's about 7 kilometers. If you're flying an Inspire, I believe that's further. And so whichever drone you're flying determines how far away you can see with them. So don't think about it in terms of these having the limitation. It has to do with the drone. In the band, there is a whopping 9,440 milliamp hour battery. Now, it's a big battery. For everyone who's seen our videos about batteries or just knows anything about batteries, milliamp hours is kind of like how much fuel you can put in a tank. Most batteries are, actually the batteries on a Phantom, I believe, are in the 4,000 or 5,000 milliamp hour range. So this is a good sized battery with a long lifespan. It's supposed to give you about 6 hours of continuous use, which is fantastic if you're gonna be out flying for a while. It does have a micro USB port for charging, and it comes with a micro USB cable and a USB wall plug here. Don't mistake this for an iPhone cable because it looks an awful lot like a lightning cable, but it's not. It's micro USB, so you can actually plug it in. And it does have this HDMI cable, which is a full-size HDMI to a mini HDMI. Now you can use this HDMI converter and plug it into your laptop, into a DVD player, into a Roku, Apple TV, any of those kind of things, and actually take a video signal and audio signal out and watch movies in this thing. And I've tried it. It's a bit inconvenient because this cable's a little short unless you've got your laptop sitting right in your lap, which could be cool. But it's very much like being in a movie theater. You feel like you're looking at a giant screen, even though it's a pretty small screen right in front of your face. The goggles do have a micro SD slot, which allows you to record locally to the goggles. I believe you can only record in 720p on the goggles themselves, but if you're recording both on the goggles and your quad, you can do 4K on the quad and 720 on the goggles as a backup or as the ability to view them instantly. There is a touchscreen over on this side. This entire surface is a touchscreen, and it's very, very accurate and sensitive. It reminds me a lot of the first iPods, the little wheel. It's a smooth, plasticky kind of surface with dimples on it, and as you rub it, you can do different things, like you can lock the screen by moving your finger forward, you can unlock it by moving 2 fingers back, different access points and different things you can do with it. On the Mavic, pretty much anything you can do with the Mavic remote control, you can do on this touchscreen in the goggles. So once you've paired the goggles with the quad, everything, all the commands on the goggles or on the remote are available on the goggles. So you basically at that point don't need to use the phone connected to the remote anymore. You just use the remote as is, and then you use the goggles without the phone. So the video refresh rate of the goggles is 60 hertz. And if anybody is wondering what that means, it has to do with how often or how flickery the screen's gonna look and how often it refreshes and how smooth your images are gonna be. A lot of computers now are going to 120 hertz, which means that you get smoother, fluid video, especially when you're playing video games. So 60 hertz is kind of today's standard. It's not the latest and greatest, but it is a acceptable refresh rate. And to me, the screen doesn't look flickery at all. It looks very smooth when I've been flying. So, I think if it went to 120 hertz, it would be even more fluid and amazing. But right now at 60 hertz, it looks fantastic. So one thing I wanted to note and show you is the size comparison to these things to the actual Mavic. I mean, if you look at the Mavic here, especially when it's all folded up, these goggles are almost the same size as the actual Mavic. They're definitely bigger than the Spark. My point being that they're not super convenient for carrying around. They're not gonna easily fit into a backpack, and plus I feel like they're kind of fragile to throw into a backpack or something where they're not gonna have any protection. One note, I do wish that DJI sent some sort of foam or plastic case to put them in to protect them. I actually found a bin that was just the right size, one of those plastic bins. They fit in there very nicely along with the cables and the remote, and so I don't have to worry too much about them, put a little bit of foam around them. But currently they just come in a box. The unboxing experience is good, don't get me wrong. It's very cool to pull them out, but it isn't anything like some of the cases that DJI has been sending with their drones. I would say if you're gonna travel with it and throw it into a bag or a backpack, it might be a good idea to go ahead and just take them apart so that they don't get ripped apart or broken. As I said before, you can wear them with glasses or contacts, and you can focus for your eyes, so that's fantastic, and there is space in there for glasses as far as along the outer edges of them. The touchscreen on the side here, again, is just really fantastic. It's very smooth and fluid, and once you know what you're doing with it, it's easy to do. One thing to note is it's pretty easy to accidentally touch that, and when you let other people wear it, it's easy for them to reach up and grab the goggles as they're putting it on and end up changing some settings. So you can lock that touchscreen out before you hand it over to somebody. You can pair 2 pairs of these to one Mavic, with one being the primary and one being the back or observer. And what that means is that you can actually fly with the goggles while someone else is wearing the goggles and kind of share that flight experience, which is really, really cool. There is head tracking, and there's 2 different types of head tracking with these. One type of head tracking moves the gimbal on the camera, so as you go up and down, the gimbal goes up and down, and as you go left and right, the gimbal rotates left and right. Another type of head tracking actually allows you to fly by turning your head. So as you move forward and you turn your head, the Mavic will actually follow and fly in the direction, change its yaw in the direction that you turn your head.
This is a little bit freaky. This one will make you a little dizzy because it's the head tracking mode, not the gimbal. So you're actually just flying forward and using your head to navigate.
So when you turn right, the drone, the yaw goes right?
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so there's the view in the goggles, and we've got head tracking on. So when I turn the camera like this, or tilt up and down, it tilts the camera up and down. So there is also a tap to focus feature. As everybody knows, in the newest and latest versions of DJI Go 4, you use tap to focus in different areas of the scene. So therefore, you want to make sure you're doing that because you don't want your scene to be soft. I have shot some things and realized I hadn't tapped and the footage turned out soft, so I had to go back and reshoot. So the goggles allow you to actually tap within the scene using the touchscreen and focus on a certain spot in the scene.
So yeah, what do you think about that versus flying with the phone?
It's fantastic. I mean, the phone's always, the other thing too is like people always want to see what you're doing, and they try to lean over your shoulder. Dude,
My fault.
do not run into me.
My fault.
And it's always awkward. They're trying to see your phone. It doesn't look good, but man, being able to like hand them these while you use your phone.
Or just hand them your phone while you're using those.
Yeah, or filming cinematics, right? Like if you had a Phantom 4 Pro, and if you were trying to film something, like professionally, this is just off the charts.
So I'm going to wrap up just by saying the DJI goggles are amazing. As someone who has flown FPV for a while, it's a big, big leap forward in terms of the quality of the vision, the lack of dropout in the video signal. I mean, it's just crystal clear all the time. And the responsiveness, and also the ability to control so many things from the heads-up display using the touchscreen over on the side. There's a bit of a learning curve because there's a lot of things to touch and control, but it's all pretty intuitive. DJI's done a nice job of kind of making things similar to the way it works in the app. So if you know how to work things in the app, like how to format your SD card, for example, you can do that from here pretty easily. It's kind of in the same set of menus. And it is also just amazing to put these on people who have never flown a drone before, or who have never worn FPV goggles. They invariably, it's kind of like when they first put on Oculus Rift, they just blow your mind at how clear they are and how much you feel like you're flying. So for people who are wanting to learn how to fly FPV, for people who are wanting to shoot better video, and that's something I haven't even talked about, you can shoot such great video with these things. And the reason is, first of all, you don't have the glare on your phone or on your tablet or whatever you're using for your image as you're flying. Second of all, there's no real distractions. I mean, you're looking right into the shot that you're getting, and you can tell very easily how close you are to things, how high you are based on the heads-up display. I mean, it's going to really be a game changer in terms of getting cinematic video using a DJI product. And then finally, just the whole factor of being able to fly more precisely. These really give you that ability to become a better pilot. I would say you definitely want to know how to fly in a line of sight. And I would also say it's a good idea if you're flying with these to have a visual observer with you, someone who can actually spend some time looking at where your quad is going and making sure that there's no problems and nothing in the way. Be safe, that's the point. So I'm going to put a link in the description on where you can get these. I was going to show you one other thing that's kind of cool. So when you're wearing them, you can actually pop them up like this. So you can see around while you're wearing them. So you don't have to take them off to be able to see. They have a hinge in there that allows you to just pop them up and then pull them down. Reminds me of the X-Wing fighter, you know, when Luke's going down the trenches. Anyway, from a dude who looks nerdier in goggles than just about anybody else, to you, my audience, I want to say thanks for watching. If you're interested in finding out more, click the link below. And as always, please subscribe to Ready Set Drone to get more videos about all kinds of stuff related to drones and RC and all that good stuff. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Oh, this is really an out-of-body experience.
I saw myself sitting in a lawn chair.
All right. $10,000 worth of drone equipment. We have a problem.